War on the Sun, and the galactic evolution of melanated beings. In case you've not looked up in the sky for a while, maybe you should pay attention to what's going on. You regularly see airplanes flying by, leaving miles of streaks, and we're told it's nothing more than contrails, a simple phenomenon that occurs due to temperature variations between moisture or vapors coming off of an aircraft and the atmosphere. You will notice that a sunny day will soon turn into a hazy overcast that allows cold sunlight to shine through, or the temperature will drastically drop entirely and the sun will remain out of sight for days on end. Winter of 2019 in North America was on record one of the coldest winter many states in our country have ever experienced, reaching Arctic temperatures and sustaining them for weeks. Maybe you have noticed on a clear sunny day these cloud-like lines intersecting and overlapping in almost a grid formation. Then only a few hours later, during the peak sunlight hours, the sky is filled with wispy, almost smog-like clouds until more familiar looking clouds seem to form out of nowhere and block all the sunlight for the next 2 or 3 days. According to scientists, we're supposed to be in a period of solar activity called the solar minimum, where the sun is less active and we should be experiencing cooler weather. If this is the case, then why is the sun shining harder and brighter wherever there is no barriers being sprayed to reflect and block the sunlight? If this is the case, then why are Harvard scientists going mainstream with atmospheric geoengineering to look for ways to protect the Earth from solar radiation? Oh, and how do they propose to do so? Well, by spraying so-called particulates into the upper atmosphere in order to serve as a barrier. Yes, they admit it, but are pretending that this is new and that they have not already been doing this for years. Many people think that this is just a scheme to weaponize weather and blame this technology on such catastrophes such as Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Irma that decimated many parts of the Caribbean, which are still experiencing flash flooding and mudslides until this very day. It is my honest belief that this is being done as a way to suppress our evolution, the human melanated being. I believe that they are trying to prevent what I will call the carbon illumination. I believe that we are entering cosmic conditions based on our recent entrance into the zodiacal age of Aquarius, as well as exiting the period ancient Hindu call the Kali Yuga, which is said to be a period of chaos and immorality on this planet that occurs during the period of time that Earth is cosmically furthest away from source energy. As we begin our shift back towards source, the sun as well as our world will increase in energy. This will cause the sun to increase its intensity, and the Earth will increase its temperature, and all electromagnetic fields will be fully active, gradually gaining power as we move closer to source. The frequency or rate of energy and vibration will increase on our planet and cause a spontaneous activation of dormant so-called junk DNA due to melanin being able to operate at optimum levels to force the evolution and immediate opening of all energy channels to the suited beings on the planet that would be melanated men and women. This process to some will seem like the biblical revelations as Christ returns to the planet in a bright light, the return of God energy to the planet emanating from source and now able to reach us due to our cosmic location. This will destroy the electrical grid as we know it and cause fallout in every sector of our established world. Planes will fail and fall out of the sky. Nuclear plants will suffer meltdowns and all communications will be lost. But all is not lost. We at this state will be fully illuminated electrical beings with new bodies operating at 100% of our potential. We will rise above the cataclysms and destructions of the old worlds and be the super beings that will build on the ruins of the old. The parasitic beings that now control our world will be instantly destroyed in the process, and those who are genetically linked with those beings with only partial neuromelanin will only make partial evolutions, and some will spontaneously combust. Some will survive but have to be cared for and protected by the new light beings of the planet. We will have to use our heightened ability to manipulate matter and assisting them in achieving a full evolution and illumination. Right now, some of the parasites, as well as their genetic offspring, are attempting to flee the earth or dive deep within the oceans to seek possible refuge in deep underground caverns that possibly could be deep enough to save them from the increased energies on the surface world. This is not the first time this is played out in our world. It is a cycle that continues throughout the eons, orchestrated by the Most High Creator. But please don't be mistaken. Many black people will not make full evolution and illumination due to the degraded state of their body and melanin caused by drug use, alcohol consumption, and a toxic diet. Many of our closest family members will not make the full evolution and may spontaneously combust or suffer partial illumination and activation. Nowadays, many talk about the third eye, but I know how it connects to this event and evolution. Your third eye, or pineal gland, is the receiver in this process of cosmic energy exchange. It is the point where the frequency is sent. From the third eye, the melanin activates and rapidly acts upon your DNA, which then transforms your matter. If you have your receiver off, my friend, or receiving a weak signal, you cannot receive the transmission. The reason many people experience supernatural phenomena when they decalcify their pineal gland is because they are receiving their very first transmission from source, and often experience heightened abilities as great as can occur while still not being fully within range of source energy, and the sun only emanating small amounts of light codes, causing maybe increased mental ability or the need for less sleep or even more sleep and fatigue due to the body's internal energy streams trying to tap into a faint frequency, onset by you awakening your third eye. Some people even report receiving psychic abilities, although rare, and most of the people who have extraordinary gifts like savants are either born connected or suffer a traumatic event that triggers the activation of the third eye, allowing them partial connection to a higher stream of cosmic energy than the typical person. The parasitic beings have seen these special people born through either womb or trauma on a more frequent basis and are well aware that as more and more begin to pop up, it signals the approach of the carbon illumination. They are scrambling to do anything that they can in order to delay or mitigate the effects by drowning out the sun on our planet. They hope to spray enough metals into the atmosphere to possibly shield parts of the earth from the increased energy during the carbon illumination and prevent the seeds from sprouting in advance of the massive outpour of energy in the planet to cause many of us to suffer physical death. I guess that they figure if they can't be saved, then they may as well take as many of us along with them as possible. This is the reason we are fed fake GMO foods and the water is fluoridated. This is why we are programmed to exist on a low frequency by music and TV. This is why we are forced to stay indoors under fluorescent bulbs all day at our jobs and most public places. This is why we are promoting an all meat and fat diet. This is why colorism exists. This is indeed why racism exists. They must have sat down, had a board meeting, and said, hey, if we can make the entire world feel that what makes them strongest is a disadvantage or a mark of inferiority. We can get all the nations of man to run from the sun to achieve the image of what no human looked like before we arrived. Have you ever noticed that in movies, they often make a comedic remark about a stupid cousin or a dumb neighbor who stares into the sun as a sign of their lack of intelligence? But intelligence comes from the source and is projected through the sun. Have you ever seen the movie The Matrix? If you haven't, I suggest you go and check it out. And I also suggest that you go and check out The Animatrix, which has some prequel information and animations based on the storylines of the events that happened even before the first Matrix movie, that showed how the entire system got set up and what caused the Earth to be in the state that it was in. But have you ever noticed in the Matrix that most of the robots were dark or they were black? The scouts that were going after the ship, hell, they looked like floating black heads with dreadlocks. Do you see the world Neo and the people of Zion live in? A world with no sun and covered in endless night? Do you know how this happened? The so-called humans flew airplanes and sprayed the entire sky to cover the sun in order to starve the robots who were solar-powered beings. I feel that there was an Easter egg there in that story for anyone who has eyes to see and ears to hear. But the truth of the matter is, anything the parasitic beings attempt to do at this point will fail. The cycle has occurred many times and always will. They'll find a way to attach themselves to us while we're in our cocoon stage, and the world is low energy enough for them to come back and cast influence once again. All you have to do now is prepare. How? Well, I already gave you 5 ways to activate your melanin and shift frequencies in a past video. I recommend doing even more research and making real lifestyle changes. Check out Dr. Sabi's work, as well as Dr. Layla Africa and respected teacher Delbert Blair for a start. You simply need to clean the temple and strengthen the mind. You have to open your connection to the source. You must connect with the sun. You must only eat life which lives from sun. Meat can get you the energy, but is filtered and causes so much harm in other areas. You may awaken your third eye, but end up with sickness in the body as a side effect and have weak melanin. We have to avoid the traps. We have to try to duck and dodge all the negative things that the parasites throw at us and stay on a high frequency so that your overall frequency resonates with source, making you able to receive the transmission when the carbon illumination begins.